Hey guys, it's time for Breakthrough with Coach Lou. Coming to you live from Accelerate Life University, XLR8Life.com. Coach Lou will help you break through anything that's stopping you. Are you ready to get the motivation, the energy, the life, and all the success you really want and deserve? With no further ado, here's Coach Lou.
All right, guys, welcome back to Breakthrough with Coach Lou. It's Monday morning. Are you ready to rock? The entire month of September, we have been talking about fear. Okay? And what a cool name for the series, but it really was. And that didn't even happen. Initially, it was just going to be the month is on the series of fear. And then I thought, well, fear has a lot of powerful grip on you, me, everybody. So much is based on fear, and so much holdback is based on fear. So much of what stops you is based on fear that I say, F fear. Let's all do it together. Say F fear. You can say the whole word if you want, just for some reasons. We do have some kids on the show in the morning. I'm going to take it a little easier on the F word this morning than usual. I got all our comment boards open, guys, so yes, I'm watching all over the place. Let's get some comments in this morning. This is the culmination of the month. Okay, this is what we've been getting up to. Each week we made a little more strides to go about breaking through this thing called fear. Now we need to know what's on the other side of it. Well, it's the end of the month, so let's dig into what's on the other side of it. Let's take a quick walk down memory lane. You ready for this? All right, strap in. You know, if you're sitting there and you're going, oh, I'm trying to do 3 things at once and I'm answering emails, just take 20, 30 minutes with me here, guys. I'm gonna make this one brief this morning, but let's dig into this. This is your life we're talking about. You might go, well, I gotta do this, or and you know what? You can take 20 or 30 minutes for yourself. If you're afraid of something so much that you can't say, I need 20 minutes for myself to grow, you got a real problem, my friend. Okay? If you can't tell your boss, your spouse, your kids, you know what? I need 20 minutes to myself this morning because this is important. This is going to get me past a lot of things that's holding me back. This is what taking real control of your life is about. That's not being selfish. Maybe a little selfish so you can do better for somebody else. What if your fear is damaging your relationship, damaging your business, holding your kids back, holding you back, holding your family back? What if this fear that you've been experiencing is actually spilling over and hurting the lives of those you care about? But yeah, you can't tell me you don't have 20 minutes to spend with me on this show this morning. You can always watch a replay if you missed it, but let's get this impact right here and now. Let's take a walk down memory lane. All right, we're gonna do this fast. Get ready. Take your pens out, get some notes. First week we discovered basically what was week 1 all about in a nutshell. Understanding that fear is your biggest holdback. Huh? Oh yeah, I remember that. Yes, fear is your biggest holdback. It's not the actual work to do something. It's not the actual conversation you have to have. It's not the actual request that you put in at work. It is not the actual decision that you finally make. It's the holdback that holds you back, and that's fear. That's what hurts you. You want a raise at work, but you're not getting one, but you haven't asked for it because you're afraid. That's your holdback. You know, your relationship's getting a little stale and you love your spouse and you're like, hey, we got to have a talk. We got to start doing some date nights or something. You know, but I don't know if I say that, they might get divorced me because I say I want to make our relationship better. If you're afraid you're going to get divorced by going to your spouse and saying your relationship's going to get better, you might have a bigger problem. Okay? Oh, someday I want to start a business, but the economy's scary right now. The president sucks. You know what? You're never going to have the opportune economy, the opportune president, or anything. The economy's ever shifting. All politicians suck in one way or another. Vote for me for president 2024, by the way, because I want to help get this country back to not only back but forward. We don't want to go back in some areas, but we certainly need to go forward in others. Oh, okay. So I hope I have your vote. But seriously, guys, fear is what's holding you back. That was number one, week one. Wow. Okay. Then we took a little turn into week two. Okay. So what is fear? What is the actual thing of fear? We found out it's basically a warning. It's an alert system in your body, which back in the day when you were running from tigers and lions and other cavemen with spears or something, it was probably a good thing to live in a state of fear quite often. But when you're living in a state of fear that somebody might not like my post, somebody might say something bad about my hair, and I'm going to feel bullied on Facebook. Come on, people. Not when there's real things to fear in this world. Okay? Fear is a good thing. It is a warning sign that you need to fight, flight, or freeze. Okay? Now, if it's perceived fear that really has no basis and there's no reason for the fight, flight, or freeze, maybe it's a warning sign you're not paying attention to something, this, that, or the other. That kind of fear is not the same fear as you walk in your home and find out that somebody may be in there in the middle of a robbery. Okay, that's fear, but what you do with that is a different story. Do you run? Maybe. Do you freeze? Probably not a good idea. If you come across a tiger in the wild, you might freeze and he doesn't notice you. That's a good idea. You got a robber in your house and you just stand there and look at him, you're probably going to get your ass killed. Oh, I said a bad word. Covered kids' ears. All right, so, and then there's fight. That you make your decision. Is it safer to run? Is it safer to stand up? But the fact is that would be a real fear as opposed to, walking around going, oh, yeah, that person's different than me. I'm afraid of them on the street. You have no basis for that. Maybe you just, the way they dress or something scares you. Well, that's not a real fear. Now, if you're walking down the street in the middle of the night and there's a gang at the end of the street with baseball bats looking at you like they're going to rob you, then you can get the jump on them and run the other direction and get the hell out of there because there's 7 of them and 1 of you and you only got 6 shots in your gun. Probably a good idea. Run! Okay, you don't want to hurt anybody anyway, even a dirtbag. That comes with consequences, but unless you have to. But the point being is the perceived as opposed to the real. So if it's real, you got to process it and take control of it if it's a real fear and make the decisions of the 3 F's, which one you're going to do. And if it's perceived, do not let it paralyze you. Acknowledge it. Go, okay, this is a warning sign. Something's bugging me. What do I need to do here? Okay, I'm nervous about talking to my boss is not the same thing as I have a gang of robbers chasing me down the road with baseball bats. Those are 2 different situations. Okay, 2 different things. One is mostly a perceived fear. Okay, now you might say, dang it, Lou. No, it's a real fear. I walked in my boss's office once, told him I want a raise. He told me GTFO. You can figure out what that means. Get that out. Okay, it could happen. But you know what? That was never the job for you if that were the case. Don't let the perceived fear paralyze you like the real fear. And that brought us into week 3. Okay, these are the ways fear controls you, paralyzes you. You do nothing. When you are paralyzed and you do nothing, you are a sitting duck, whether it's in an emergency situation, a danger situation, or a situation where you're just not doing anything to progress your life because you are stuck by paralysis. Guys, this is simple stuff. When you really think about it and you really dissect it, you go, wow, holy moly, coach. This really isn't that hard. No, it isn't. Okay, but you gotta condition yourself. All right, how about procrastination? How often has fear led to procrastination? Probably more often than not. I really need to get more money at work, but God, I'll talk to the boss next week or next month. Now's not really the time. Why? You're procrastinating. Why is now not a good time? Most of the time in the world, when you have a good idea or something you want to pursue, when is now the time to start pursuing it? Okay, not down the road, because that's just fear. False evidence that appears real. F everything and run. Or face everything and rise. I mean, you've heard there's 100,000 acronyms for fear. What does it really mean to you? Okay. What about, now here's another one. This is a big one in the entrepreneurial, in the influencer area that I see. Perfectionism. I got to be perfect. I got to have the perfect course before I release it. I got to have the perfect haircut before I do my first live. I got to have the perfect story to tell. I got to have the perfect life. I got to be in perfect shape before I ask the girl for a date, or if you're a gal asking, getting to know the guy. We got to be perfectly financially stable before we can consider having a child. Everything's we got to be ready. You're never ready to have a kid, kids. If you're thinking of having kids and you're going, I don't know when, let me tell you a little story. Okay, real quick. Okay, because I promised I'd be brief this morning. Tooling along in life. Living in a neighborhood of Orlando that one block over there's $1 million house. 3 houses down there's a crack house. Okay, it's known as College Park in Orlando. It is what it is. It is the most mishmash neighborhood. Cool older bungalows, brand new beautiful homes and townhomes, everything in between. As an overall kind of pretty cool neighborhood, a mixing of the old and the new and everything. But yeah, $1 million home, crack house, 3 houses down. This is no shit. This is truth. Okay. Guess what? I find out I'm going to be a daddy. Okay, well, living there is okay for me because, it's an investment and the house was a fixer-upper and stuff. And I can't raise a child with that down the street. Okay, and some other, it just wasn't conducive for, so boom, go out and find this townhome. Okay, buy that, rent out the other one. It's a good start to a real estate, investment career here. Child starts to walk. I don't want her to be walking and run out into a parking lot where, there's all kinds of people live there too. We have great neighborhood, great neighbors, but they got teenage kids and they're zooming in and out with the cars and people aren't really looking for toddlers. And I'm like, I don't want her, this is not safe. We go for a walk one day, we find a house with this beautiful fenced yard and this beautiful quiet neighborhood. Wow. Boom. There we go. She's got a backyard to play in. She can't get out. We're good. And then boom, we find another place because she wants to swim. My little girl likes water. We don't have a pool. Well, I want to get her, swimming lessons, but it's not going to do you any good if you're not actually swimming. So we find a place with a pool. Anyway, the driving force there of success, up from the little tiny shack in College Park to a nice, beautiful pool home came from what? Get that camera in focus. Came from having a child. Didn't happen the other way around. I didn't go boom, boom, boom. Oh, now we have this nice pool home and this, that, and the other. Now we can have a child. Okay. No, it was like, here we go. Let's do this. It's time to step up. Baby on the way. Okay, so that perfectionism, life would never have been perfect to have a child. I would not have my amazing, beautiful daughter, Alexis, had I sat there and said, oh, well, got to do all this first. Then what about negative self-talk? Okay, if you start thinking that you're afraid of everything, you start to think you're not capable, you can't handle it, you start to get down on yourself. Then you start the avoidance. Well, I don't want to, I don't want to go to that event because there's people there and I might have to talk to someone. I'm not the most well-spoken person in the world, nor am I. Come on, guys. I call it like it is. I say y'all once in a while. I'm sure I mispronounce words just like every one of the rest of us. I have been talking to somebody and gone, I totally lost my train of thought. Or they go, bleh, 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 start to stumble over your words. You're human. But you start to avoid personal interaction because you want to be perfect. I'm afraid if I say something wrong, I'm going to be judged. Oh my God, they're not going to cut your hands or your head off, people, please. There are countries out there, and this is why we avoid socialism at all costs, where if you say the wrong thing, you could lose a body part. Don't think this isn't going on in today's world. It is very much so, more than ever in some of these third world socialist countries. So don't be afraid if you say the wrong thing, you're going to lose a body part, because that doesn't happen in the United States of America. Okay? Somebody might say, well, that sounded dumb. Oh, I'm heartbroken. Well, whatever. Carry on. Learn. Next time, don't say that. Learn. Grow. Self-doubt. You don't want to self-doubt yourself. Regret is the worst one. Oh, I can't tell you how many times I hear from people. I wish I had gone skydiving when I was younger because I'm too old now. I wish I had taken up this sport when I was younger, but I'm too old now. I wish I had started a business, but I'm too vested into my career and, I'd be giving up my retirement. I'm too old now. That's what's going to happen if you let fear hold you back. Okay? Hey, I'm calling it like it is, guys. F fear. Okay? Tell it where to go. Because I'm not going to tell you it's easy. It's not easy to face fear. It's not easy to conquer. It's not easy to break through. But it sure as hell is worth it. Okay? How would I be on a show like this with you guys? How could I be an auctioneer? I was so quiet as a kid. In first grade, they sent home a letter and asked if I was a mute. I was so scared to talk to anybody. It wasn't funny. And I remember that because I didn't want to go to school. I just leave me at home. Leave me with the people I know. I don't want to go and interact. I don't, these kids. Now, all right, let's dig a little deeper on that one. I had a pretty upbringing in childhood. We didn't have anything. I had an aholic that raised us. God bless her, God rest her soul. I had two aholics. One was a workaholic, one was an alcoholic. And, I felt inferior going to school. I didn't have a dad living at home and mom was cool till she had some beer and then it was all downhill from there. So some embarrassing moments happened if I did have friends over to the house. And again, I have no negative feelings. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Dad, for all of what you taught me to be or not to be. God bless them. God rest their souls. I have no negativity there because they really did allow me to become who I am today. But the problem would have been the regret. I mean, if I hadn't been forced into it, if Dad hadn't handed me a microphone at 12 years old and said, I need a break and you're doing it, and I'm like, no, let me go get my sister. I'm not getting in front of this crowd. I wouldn't be who I am today. Took me a few seconds to realize that talking to a crowd and commanding a crowd, and they were actually paying attention to me in a positive way, positive attention, which I didn't get as much of when I was a child as I thought I would have liked or whatever. But I was like, oh my God, this is kind of cool. For about 20 years past that, I still got butterflies every time I picked up a microphone, and my neck would be like, boom, 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 boom. And I'd be like, I can't breathe. Just for a second. Go get going. That's the breaking through fear. That's breaking through it. Okay? That's what we're going to talk about next real quick. And lastly, before we get into that, there is a fear can have a horrendous impact on your physical and your mental health. This is how it really controls you, because mentally it can eat at you. Physically, the stress of fear can eat you alive. So what do? You break through this thing. You punch it in the face and go, let's go. You kick through the door, go, let's go, right? And it's all easy. It's just, I'm Bruce Lee of fear. Ha! I'm going to kick through the door. Yeah, well, okay. Yes. Putting it simply, yes. You got to kick the door down. You got to break through. You got to take control of it. You got to take fear by the throat and say, I am done with you. But you're not really done with it. What's a better thing to do than always be kicking and fighting? That's stressful too. Turn it around, make it your friend. Okay? What are the keys to doing that? Number one, when you begin to feel fear, ask, what does this really mean? Is there a tiger ready to bite my head off and dismember me and eat me alive and take me body parts back to its children to eat? Or is this something that needs my attention that before it gets out of control and becomes a problem? Like doing your taxes or doing other things, filing something, being timely, having a discussion, a meeting, calling the client before somebody else does, returning a phone call before they call somebody else. If I don't call so-and-so, I'm going to have to, Joe Blow, my competitor, might call him back first. You might lose a great deal. That's a fear. Hey, I need to get on this. It's a wake-up call. Okay. Then you determine your category. Is it clear and present? Something's chasing you, or is it a foreboding that something's not right, or I feel I got to pay attention to this. This needs my attention. Or is it your imagination absolutely running wild? God gave me a gift. Or my childhood gave me a gift. Well, God gave me a gift through my childhood. That was a very, very active imagination. Very. Oh my God, I could live a whole day somewhere else. I could live a whole different life in my head when I was a kid. Probably served a purpose then. But that imagination could run away with you. And, you could live this fear scenario and go through it, and it's very real, and it had the mental and physical effect on you as if you really went through it. Or you could have your imagination do great things and help you grow and have ideas. Sometimes it's fun to have a little bit of the crazy imagination and, live the life of adventure, the James Bond imagination. And then there's other times where it's a good idea to envision a beautiful future and then design how to get there. But that's, we could go way in depth into this, guys. But the fact of the matter is, it's what you do with that. Is it clear and present danger? Is it a foreboding? And foreboding, I hate to use words that sometimes people go, what the heck's a foreboding? I don't expect you to know every word in the English language, nor please don't expect me to. Foreboding is just that feeling something's wrong or if something needs your attention. I would say more it's really something needs your attention, although it feels like something's wrong. Or is it your imagination absolutely going through the roof? I think if you watched the show last week, the example I gave of your spouse being late for dinner and you can't reach them on the cell phone and you're picturing them having relations with somebody at the office on a desk, when the truth is they were in such a hurry to get to you because they love you so much that they left their phone on their desk and had to turn around and go back, and by the time they picked up that phone and called you, you were mad at them for having relations with somebody at work, or you pictured them dead upside down in the car. That's the kind of stuff that you can't let that imagination run wild till you have the facts. Then sometimes if you get the facts, and those are some of the cases, you take that appropriate action. Okay? So now it's like, you know what you're dealing with. Now, how do you deal with it? Okay? What are the appropriate steps to determine the meaning? Okay? Then you take the appropriate action, the fight, flight, or freeze. Okay? Every situation's different. There's going to be a different time when you take those actions. Now, the thing is if you don't take the action, you start to worry. And that's a constant stress on you. And that's the one that takes the biggest physical and mental health stresses, because you are so worried. You're worried. I went to the doctor and, they said, I did some blood tests and they said, we need you to come in as soon as possible. Why don't you tell me what's going on? Oh, you got to come in and see the doctor. And you're worried. And then you go in and it's not nearly what you thought it was. But by now, maybe you're even sick. You've caught a cold because you've taken your immune system down. Not a worry. Okay. Number 5, you evaluate, your outcomes and determine if you perceived correctly after you've done these steps. And now in the future, when something happens, you go, it's not as big of a deal. I know how to deal with it. Yeah, it's a pain in the ass, but I know how to deal with it. Or, hey, when this happens, last time this was it was a major problem, guys, so we need to get ahead of this one. Whatever it is. Or you go, God, I totally formulated that in my head, and next time my spouse is 5 minutes late for dinner, I'm never going to go call him screaming like I did, because I made an absolute idiot out of myself, and it damaged my relationship. Okay? So in the last note on fear, before we hit just a couple of final points for today, the rate at which you respond is determined by the category. Okay? It is absolutely imperative to have a timeline for your response. Clear and present danger doesn't mean you stand there and think about it. You quickly decide. Okay, you see a car wreck or something happen, first thing you do is dial 911. The faster you can get help there, the better. You don't go and start looking around and going, oh, the one car's got a ruined front end and the person's hanging out the window and probably not breathing. And then you go over and the other person seems okay. And all right, now I think I'm going to dial 911. No, you dial 911 fast because that starts the ball rolling. Now, going back to the dinner with the spouse thing, the first thing you don't do is knee jerk. You call them, hey babe, I'm here at the restaurant and just checking on you. Okay, drive careful. You don't immediately, what are you with Sally on the desk? And then your spouse is like, they get that message and they're like, now you're not going to have a good dinner. You're not going to have a good night, and you've destroyed the trust. Okay. Now again, in certain cases, stuff like that's going on, and I'm not condoning it, but that's different. But you can't take back that. But you don't want to be fast to, oh my God, they're not here on the hour at 6 p.m. like they said they must be doing, and you're calling up screaming or I'm worried. Are you dead? Oh. There's a different response time. That is critical when it comes to dealing with the fear of what's actually real or perceived. Okay? Pretty darn cool, y'all. I like this. All right, so the big question is, and this is the big secret of the month, what lies beyond fear? You want the truth? The answer comes from you. Okay? If you decide to cower and turn away from anything that's a challenge and you're afraid and, we got to play it safe. Let's play it safe. Let's take the safe bet. Okay, you're going to live in a box. You're going to basically be in a little jail that shrinks and shrinks and shrinks. Okay? Or do you take the other approach? Step up and handle it. I'm not talking recklessly. I mean, some fears, there's some things you check out and go, all right, this is something, we're not going to jump into this decision because that could very well be a bad decision right now. We need to do more research. We need to check it out. Or you go, hey, you know what? We're going for this. What's the worst that could happen? What's your worst case scenario? What's your best? Evaluate, mitigate, and go, hey, we're in. Okay? The difference between cowering and stepping up and taking care of the fear is really the difference between prison and freedom. Okay? If you condition yourself to face fear, you're going to be way more free in life. If you condition yourself to run, cower, and hide from fear, you become a victim of it. And the thing is when you conquer fear, your sphere of influence. See, like here's your sphere of influence. And what that is your comfort zone. Okay, it's a big fancy word for comfort zone. When a problem pops out here and out here and out here, you have to grow that sphere of influence to handle those problems. Once you handle those problems, you're this big, that influence you have. Again, more problems will pop up, it's life, and you're here. When you start to go, I can't get outside of this, those problems start to get on the outside of that sphere and shrink it. And the more problems, the more it shrinks, and the more it crushes you at your soul. Okay? Sounds like a woo-woo Halloween kind of thing. Crushes your soul. But it does. It ruins you. It takes your guts away. I was going to say something else, but men or women. This is not just a guy thing. So it takes your guts away when you get squished down by those fears, because the more you don't deal with the fears or problems, the more it squishes your sphere of influence in, till basically you become ineffective, unhappy, and you die regretting all the things you never did. Or you can grow, become better, stronger, experience all this great stuff. And some of the stuff you're going, Coach, it isn't great. Okay, problems and fears are not always great. No, they're not. But when you get past them, you are great. And isn't that why you're here on Breakthrough with Lou? You're not here to be average. You're not here to be okay. Now, you might be absolutely in the basement right now of life going, dude, okay would be good for me. Great. Get there. But then there's always another level. That's why you're here with me. This is what we talk about. This is what we do. I'm your results coach. I'm your simplification coach. I want to make this stuff easy to implement. Not difficult. Not difficult, guys. Yes, there is effort. There is challenges. You're never going to stop feeling fear, but maybe you can turn fear into excitement. Fear. Excitement. Physiologically the same. Fear, excitement. What's the difference? The connotation. Connotation simply means the meaning you assign to it is the difference between fear and excitement. Stress and excitement are the same physiological response, the same chemicals that released in your brain, your body, your blood, the same response. What was it? Barbra Streisand and Bruce Springsteen. Prime example. Barbra Streisand, I'm going to go to get on stage. My hands start sweating. My heart starts racing. And I'm having a panic attack. Contrast that with Bruce Springsteen. I hear the crowd. I'm about to go on stage. My hands start sweating. My heart starts racing. And I know I'm ready to go jam. What's the difference? They're both sweating and heart racing and everything else. The difference is, for Barbara, it was a signal of fear. For Bruce, it was a signal of freedom. Which hopefully he gets his head back into the signal of freedom in his beliefs and so forth, but that's a whole different topic. But do you see the difference? Same physical response, same scenario, totally different connotation, totally different meaning. So are you ready to do this? Are you ready to really find out what's on the other side of fear? What it means is you got to start breaking through it. And the cool thing is this. The coolest thing in the world is you have this mini course. This is literally a mini course on handling fear. And it's always available to you. Go to the Breakthrough with Lou blog, Breakthrough blog on XLR8life.com. And you can watch it over and over. In times when things start coming at you, and things are going to come at you, my friends, I wish I could tell you, you watch me and everything's kumbaya and nothing's ever going to bother you or hurt you, or I got you totally in a bubble and shield. It would be the biggest lie I could ever tell you. What I can tell you is I got the tools to help you pop through the bubble and get out there and make a life that matters. Get out there and share and be an example of what's possible. Okay, I know that we all hit those times in lives where it's not us. I'm not that kind of person. I've had this horrible thing done to me. I had the world swept out from under me. I lost this. I lost that. I lost a loved one. I mean, people have been through some horrific tragedies, through wars, through all kinds of stuff. I'm not dismissing that this stuff is painful. I'm not dismissing that fear is not. I'm never going to tell you fear is only false evidence that appears real. No, sometimes fear is very real. Okay? Fear is very real. Remember those levels of fear, though. What does it mean? Is it clear and present? Is it the foreboding telling you, hey, I need to pay attention? Or is it your imagination just making I hate to use the old beaten to death mountain out of a molehill? Wow. I'm just excited to share this with you guys. I really, from the bottom of my heart, truly hope that this was life-changing for you this morning. That's what I'm here to do, is change lives for the better. Please tell me how I'm doing. Please share this with your friends. This is important no matter whether you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, you're watching on AccelerateLife.com, which is where I prefer you to watch, so that we're not buried or put aside or hidden or any of that stuff. Your free speech is a little bit in danger, and this isn't a political thing, guys. Just be careful. Just remember, you have a right to disagree with me. You have a right to voice it, the same as I do, and I support your right to be. If you go, Coach, I disagree with you, tell me and give me a valid argument for it. I'd love to talk with you about stuff if you disagree. That's the most beautiful thing in the world, is our right to be able to have our own beliefs. Now, when I teach stuff, I teach it to the best of my ability. And you may have a different way of dealing with fear or something. I'd love to hear about that too. If there's things that you say, hey, you missed this, Coach. This is something I use and it works. Share it. It's about sharing with each other. That's what this show is about. This is what Coach Lou is about. Coach Lou Inner Circle has been born. It's working. It's going. I'd love to invite you to be a part of that. So check out CoachLou.com. Don't forget my name is spelled L-E-W. I've always said I don't care what you call me as long as you call me. But when you're typing in that web address, it probably should be L-E-W and not L-O-U, because that's obviously somebody else. All right, guys, absolutely love y'all. I appreciate each and every one of you. Live with faith, energy, passion. Always live your dreams. November, we're going to be hitting on H1. It's that time of year where we need to keep our bodies and our health strong. So I'm going to teach you some cool stuff through the month of November to do that without changing your religion, changing the way you dress, changing the way you talk just to have a healthy body. No, just some simple tweaks that you can enjoy. Let's face it, we're all human. We like good tasting food. So let's find the good tasting foods that are good for us, and the types of exercises we like, that we enjoy, that are good for us, and the types of stress relief and all that. Let's discover how you do that and still live a life, and you don't spend 8 hours a day meal prepping, or 16 hours a day in the gym, or have to go meditate for 3 days out of the week and become a monk. How to incorporate this stuff in real world, real people, you and I. Rocco, I will feed you in a minute, dude. Rocco's over there tapping his bowl. When you get your water dragons a stainless steel bowl, and they know that's where they eat, and they know that you feed them usually, and they're over there, pretty smart little critters. Anyway, on that note, I just want to, Rocco, give it a break a minute. I want to leave you with a note. Everybody and everything, everybody with the exception of their actual absolute sociopaths or just radical, everybody and everything responds to love. If you show caring to a person or a creature, it's amazing how different of a response you're going to get. Like I say, there's always the cuckoo that's an absolute sociopath, or they're just not wired right, or an animal that's just an absolute predator. But for the most part, kindness and love go a long way. Be blessed. Live with faith, energy, passion. Always live your dreams, guys. It's Coach Lou signing off.
Ready to take it to the next level? Tune in to XLR8Life.com for our live shows, encore presentations, life-changing courses, and live coaching with Coach Lou himself. As Coach Lou always says, live with faith, energy, love, passion, and always live your dreams.